the question.
Yeah. Uh, can you show me once again how to create a lightning component? I'm sorry to ask, it was a bit late, but while I'm trying yesterday,
Uh, what component?
any component, anything, just for an example. So,
Okay. Okay. Sure. I mean, today we would be creating a lot of components. So
okay,
we
thank you.
can, yeah. So did you guys, were you guys able to create GitHub account and also assign it to your, Visual Studio Code? Did you guys get a chance? Or did you guys have any issues with that? So, Shravanti, were you able to create a GitHub account? And
Yeah.
also, were you able to use that in Visual Studio?
Yeah, I'm having GitHub account, but I did not done anything in the Visual Studio Code. I was starting only. I got a bit problem, so I will do it.
Okay. Sure. How about Lakshmi?
And
Hello. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
Hi, Anvesh.
Hi.
Haven't completed the last assignment yet.
Okay. No, I'm just asking if you were able to, create a GitHub account. Were you able to assign it to, to your
I've
to the
created
project
a
or
GitHub
Visual?
account. I've created a
Sorry.
GitHub account, Anvesh.
Okay.
But
Did you assign it to Visual Studio Code? Were you able to,
no,
or did you have an issue?
not yet connected my project to the GitHub yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions with that.
Okay, Anvesh.
So
Sure.
we can. Okay. Anyways, in our previous class, we were discussing about this one thing down here. So said we would create a web page, right, with a header, and we would have one section for baking products and another one for recipes. So I'll explain you guys how can we actually create individual components and how do we actually do this page from scratch using our Angular components. And as you can see down here, I've mentioned you guys before that whenever we have a Angular application, we would try to divide that into as many components as possible. So it's easy for maintenance, and also if you have any issues, you can just go to that component, make some changes. Also, sometimes it's also useful to just use create one component and use it at multiple places. So I would go through an example about how can we actually achieve this. So from here onwards, I would anyways, from this class onwards, I would do one thing. The more you guys actually get involved whenever I'm teaching, the better you can actually learn. Earlier, I used to have 1 or 2 students, so it was easy to interact with them, and I used to get response quickly, and they were able to learn it quickly as well. So that is what I'll be doing from here onwards. So I would, before doing anything or starting anything, I would ask you guys a few questions if you know something about it, or I would ask you, how can we actually do this one? So, anyways, okay. Do you guys remember how to create a new product? So it's NGNU, and since we want to create a bakery website, let's say bakery website NGNU, and once we do that, so this would be no. I want to create in CSS. Were you guys going to talk something?
No, Nishi.
Oh, okay. And it would install all the packages and everything. And yeah, successfully did that. So bakery website. And in here we have all of that. And let us go to this source folder. Also here, let us open that folder. Okay. Anyways, so if you guys remember, we have the base folder within which you have source and app, and app is where we actually write our code, right? So since you were asking, Shravanti, so it's ng. To create any new component, first thing we have to do is we have to go to that particular folder. Okay, have a source. Even before we start that, okay, let us open our diagram, like how we want to create our web page, right? So no matter what, where we are in our web page, we always need to have a header, right? Like any modern web pages, like Microsoft or anything down here, right? So you have Microsoft logo, Microsoft, and this doesn't apply just for Microsoft, or most websites use the same similar format. Like they would, on the top, they would have the navigation, right? And they would have different items within them. And we would also have few other details, a few on the down here and few on the right. So we can also go to Apple, and they follow the same format. You have the logo, and you have a bar, navigation bar, and depending on our screen size, right, it would actually contract or why. But this might happen, like a hamburger menu. Or okay, anyways, the thing I want to say is, no matter what page you go, like this remains static, right? So in our case as well, we would be doing the same thing. And that is one of the new practices of, or new in the sense, modern practices of web design. So they would always have that on the top, navigation. And they would call it as a navigation bar. Before even doing that, we would be using Bootstrap heavily in our projects, because it would make our life simpler. We would just be using some classes, and that would help us to create a responsive web page. And also they have a lot of inbuilt stylings, which we would be using here. So anyways, in order to install Bootstrap, you can, I would always look it up. I keep forgetting that. npm, let's say, install Bootstrap. Or I can simply search for how to install Bootstrap for Angular, and it will give me this. So in order to install any external library or any external module, in our case, we have to install those using npm I. Okay, or install Bootstrap Angular. This. That is one way of doing it. Or they also have this one here. Anyways, if you see down here, it says npm I bootstrap and at 3.4.1. So it says, it also specifies the version down here. If you just want to get the latest, you don't do that. You would simply say npm I bootstrap. In our case, we are using the third bootstrap version. So I would just use that for now. And okay, now it's talking. Or you can also see these examples down here. Anyway, npm I or install, either way it will work. But in order to check if you're able to, you did actually install it, you can look at your node modules folder. And it shows down here, we have a folder for Bootstrap. So that is where it would actually install. Whenever we are trying to install any external packages, that is where it will go to node modules. Anyways, apart from there, you can also verify that by looking at package.json. And in package.json, we also see that Bootstrap here. And once it's done here, it would also update package.log.json. Usually, whenever we install external packages, this is where it goes. Do you guys have any questions about what libraries or what external packages are? Or can you guys explain me what those are? Either one of you guys.
Can you repeat the question once?
So I've installed Bootstrap right in here, and I mentioned that's an external package. Can you guys explain me what external package means, or do you have any idea about that? Or
either I can say something like in Java we will import util packages or IO. It's a kind of that one, or
yeah.
Am I going?
Yeah, that is the right answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the right answer. So similarly for Bootstrap, if I want to install any external, this is the command I would use, npm I or npm install. And usually whatever we are trying to install, and that would get. And in our case, since we're trying to use the third version of Bootstrap, I've specifically mentioned at 3.4.1. Anyways, so once I do that, you can see the changes in package.json as well. Okay. And going back here, as I mentioned before, again, this is one way of checking, okay, by checking in the node modules, or there is another way of also checking if we are using Bootstrap. So nguser, and once I do that, it will try to compile the code and gives us a port number, and also okay. And this is what we're going to use. Okay, another thing I want to mention is we also have terminal in here in Visual Studio Code, and I can run most of my commands down here as well. So this is another one, terminal, new terminal, and it would show down here. And you can also see it automatically goes to our current project folder. I prefer, I mean, just showing this as an option. I don't use this. I try to use a command prompt. It's just what I prefer, but it's up to you guys. You can either use terminal in the Visual Studio here, code, or you can also use it from the command prompt. Anyway, so this is what I got. So let us delete all the code, whatever HTML code it has, because we want to design our web page. And coming back to here, and let us go to our folder again. Okay, CD, and as I mentioned, we would try to create all the components in app folder. So CD app. Okay, in order to create a component, once we are at the required or desired folder, it's ng gc. Okay. Usually it's ng is Angular, G stands for generate, C is for component. Okay, this is the full length form, but I can also simply specify ng gc. In this way, this is a shortcut form of saying ng generate component, and I would specify the name of the component. And here, since I want to create a component called header, because that is what we're trying to do, I would simply say header. Okay. And once I do that, see, it created all the necessary files, and it would also create a folder with those components, whatever we need for the component. So it created the component.ts and also the HTML and CSS. Apart from that, it also added it to the app module. So is it clear, Shravanti? You were asking this before.
Yes, but one question here. The next after the search one down, it is showing 8 and sometimes it's showing 3. What is that?
Oh, this one.
Yes.
This is the source control. This is what if I want to commit, or this is the source control or changes I've made so far.
Okay.
So changes to a number of files. So I created these 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And I made changes in these 2, right? And I also changed these ones. So total number of changes. That is what it's showing here.
Okay.
So in when I'm trying to commit the changes. So if I say commit, it would ask me, okay, yes, and say press enter. And I hit enter, and you see it automatically pushed it. Right now I haven't connected to GitHub, so it's locally doing that. But if I want to do that, I have another option. Anyways, are you familiar with branches or?
Not that much, but I think I can get.
Okay. Yeah, so I can simply say control source control repositories. Right now it's down here. Okay, it's still not connected to but I have an option C, publish to GitHub. Okay. Once I do that, it would it is asking me, and you can also see here. So it is as simple as this one. So in source control, whenever you make changes, say source control repositories, could show you this. And once you hit this button, you see this one, shows the cloud, right?
Okay.
And that is where how you would publish it to GitHub. So once I click on that, it would tell me, since I already have my login details down here, it's not asking me. But in your case, if you haven't yet associated your Visual Studio Code with your GitHub account, it would ask you for more details.
Okay.
And it's also straightforward. It's not too complicated again.
Okay.
So anyways, down here it's asking, should I publish it to a private repository or public repository? Since I want to share it with you guys, I would say public repository, and I would hit that. And it says publishing to GitHub, and successfully publish the repository on GitHub. That is all it is. It's as simple as it is. So if I want to see where it is, once I click on that, you see this is where it is. And you guys, since this is a public repository, you guys also have access to this one. So you can, in case if you want to look at the code, you can just go to this web page and access the code. And usually I would download it to zip and open it in Visual Studio Code, or I can directly open it to the Visual Studio Code. Anyways, so that is what this one is for. This is for source control.
Okay.
And whenever I make changes, it will show, for example, if I delete this one, you see, it shows 1 because I made 1 change.
Okay.
Okay. So in case you guys want to publish it to GitHub as well, since you've already created an account, just go here. Sometimes it may or may not show source control repository. So click on this. Make sure you check both of these. Then it will show the source control repository as well. And as I mentioned, just, right now it doesn't show, but for you, it should show that cloud icon, and you just publish it to GitHub. Okay, before going any further, I would like to explain a few things. I don't know if you guys went through the material I've sent you for Bootstrap. Did you guys get a chance, Lakshmi or Shravanti? Did you guys get a chance to look at any of the, what do you call, Bootstrap? Okay, so anyways, so this is how Bootstrap is usually. So you have let's skip the container part. But anyways, everything is divided into rows and columns, just like we have for tables. And within every row, you have 12 columns. And you can divide and use the 12 columns as you like. So that is as simple as it is, 12 columns. And there are different ways of organizing. You can divide it as you like again. You can divide it into 3 4s, 4 3s, 1 5, and a 7, depending on your needs. So you have, let's say this is like 3 columns, I guess. I can have 3 columns here and 9 columns here. Okay, I can divide it as I like. And that is a basic concept of Bootstrap. It is how it divides everything into the entire web page into 12 columns. And depending on what you want, you can actually arrange these things. Okay. Anyways, coming back here. Okay, since this is in the header component, this is a navigation item. So I would simply use a nav tag. Okay, and let me pull this up. Okay, you can see this one, right? And within Angular, there are different classes. Again, depending on what I want to do, I would just be using different classes, and it would automatically give me the styling here. So this is all they did here. They didn't actually use any CSS. They have specified just the class names, and it is able to show them this one down here. So we would be doing the same thing. Since this is a navigation item, I would be using a class name called navbar. And navbar default, I want a default style. Again, so navbar simply says this is a navigation bar, and navbar default means I just want to use a default style. So this is how it's. Did you guys get a chance, Lakshmi or Shravanti, either one of you guys, did you guys get a chance of going through any of the styles in, what do you call, for Bootstrap?
No.
Okay. So this is how it can, I'll just go through that briefly. So this is how it usually works. You can have a basic style, like for example, let's say I want a button. Okay, for button, the basic style is class name is BTN. So if I have if I create any button in my program, right? You guys know what button is, right? If I create a button tag, okay, if I want to use Bootstrap, this is all I have to do. I would say class equal to BTN, and it would automatically apply the Bootstrap styling to this button. Okay. Apart from that, this would be like a very basic button. But if I want more things, I would say BTN dash, and there are different options available. Like for example, primary. If I say primary, it would put a color blue. If I say there is warning, there is danger, and so on and so forth. Depending on what type of style I want to use, I would simply put the class name dash and the secondary name, whatever particular style I want to apply. So similarly, we are doing the same thing here. So nav bar, it's a navigation bar, and I want to use a default style. Okay. And let me create a div here. And by the end of, here, we would see something simple as this one. So I would have a navigation bar created, and in our case, I don't have a lot of items, right? I just have two things I have to show. One is baking products and recipe, right? So that is what we are trying to achieve down here. Anyways, class and another class for Bootstrap is, why do I have so many? Is container. So whenever I say container, it would try to, you see how in this case, it's actually towards the center, right? Microsoft, it's not towards the left. And I don't see this name down here onto the right, right? It's always centered. Okay, if I want always it to be centered, I have a class called container. So whenever I say container, it would always be centered. Okay. But in our case, I just want to show it as we have, I want to expand it to the entire page. So instead of saying container, I would say class equal to container fluid. Whenever I say container fluid, it tries to occupy the entire web page. Okay. Like we have, if I can find the example in Apple. Even though icons and everything is in this towards the center, you see the bar is expanded the entire web page, right? That is what a container fluid is. Okay. Anyways, getting back to our, So far so good. Do you guys have any questions about these two classes, navbar and container or container fluid?
What is navbar fluid? Sorry, default. Anish.
So it applies the default style for navbar. That is navbar default. Okay. So for everything, as I mentioned before, like for a button, told you, right? I can have basic button, but I just want to add some color. I would say BTN dash, similar to that. You also have things for navbar. Okay. So this is how it would look like. If I say default, you can see the background, right? It's sort of faded. It's white, but it's subtle enough to say this is where I have a navigation bar. So that is what a navbar default is.
Okay.
It's just a style. This is how, and this is how it is.
Okay.
Once we're done with this, it will be clear. And in here, I want to specify the header. So I would simply say navbar header. Okay. And here, since we want to, I want to show something like a logo or something like a header. Okay. And in order to do that, I can specify A for, you guys remember that's a link.
Yeah.
I don't have a link right now. We would be creating that later. But right now I just want to default it to the same page. Since I want to default it to the same page, I'm using hash. Okay. And if I want to display like a, let me show you. Whenever I use a navbar brand, I would simply bakery items. Okay, before doing that. So right now, if I just do this, would that actually show in our web page? Or do I have to do something else? Are you guys following me? So if I go to localhost right now, what is the okay? So if I go down here, do you guys see the header component, or what am I missing? Why don't I see that header, whatever I've designed in our web page?
Because here we did not connected the URL to the host.
No, I mean, this is the right URL for this for at least for this Angular, project. So whenever we create a component, that is not good enough, right? We also have to include that in our main app component HTML, right? So that is why it's not actually showing up. So someone else was talking. Was it Shravan? Okay, anyway, since we don't have it in here, right? So I've created the component down here, but I'm not using it in our app component.html. That is why it's not just showing up. So is that clear?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. So Yeah, so just creating the component is not good enough, but we also have to use it. So now I do that. I'm showing. Okay. Okay. One more thing I forgot. So I've did all of this, right? Like I've included the Bootstrap in our node modules, right? I mean, I've installed those down here, and I also have seen the changes in package.json, right? I did all of that, but still I don't see any style applied to here. So what is happening here? So we have angular.json. Okay, this is where all the settings are. And in here, in order to actually include Bootstrap, apart from just installing it, I also have to include that in our styles. So in angular.json, there is a property called styles. This is where the entire settings for the project is. So I have to tell the project to use our Bootstrap. Just including that isn't good enough. And that is why you're not seeing any styles applied. So in order to do that, it already uses our styles.css source, styles.css file already. Apart from that, if I want to add more than one style sheet, this is where I would do that. So I would simply use double quotations, a comma. Since this is a string, this is a location name. So in order to specify the Bootstrap, I actually have to use it, specify where it is. So if you look, it's in the node modules, and in node modules, you see it's in Bootstrap folder, right? There's a folder called Bootstrap. And usually within Bootstrap distribution, and within that we have another folder CSS. Within that, we have the actual Bootstrap. So this is what they did first. They have created all the classes. You see, btn default, btn primary, btn success, and all of those. We are trying to use those classes. We just have to specify what CSS file we're actually using for our styling here. So anyways, and that is why it wasn't showing before. So just have to specify the location. You can say copy related path, paste it here. Oops, something happened. Okay. Distribution, CSS, right? Within CSS, as I mentioned, all the styles are mentioned in Bootstrap, theme, CSS. But if you're trying to load a web page, you want that to be quick, right? You don't want it to take some time. Like for example, right now, if I open YouTube or let's say Netflix or any web page, you see it just opens pretty quickly. And one of the reasons it happens, even one of the reasons it is so quick, in spite of having so much dependencies. As you can see, I have to add another Bootstrap, is because it uses minified files. So we can use .css, but we should prefer using .min. The difference is in .css, you have spaces and tabs and all of those are included, so it's easy to read. In min, they would just remove all of those spaces, and that is why it's smaller. Anyway, going back to our Angular.json, it's advisable to use our minified version than the regular version. So let us go back to our here. So I would say bootstrap.min.css. So any questions regarding this so far?
So the bootstrap.min.css makes our web page loading time. It minimizes. Does it minimize the loading time?
Yeah, since I'm using the mil file, that reduces the loading time, because as I've shown you here, let us go to this. No, wrong. Okay, let me open it in a file explorer. We would be able to see that. And it doesn't. Okay. See, I have .css, right? The capacity is 143 kilobytes. If you see min, it's 119. It's smaller, right?
Yeah.
Since I'm trying to download a smaller file, it would be quicker. That is all.
Okay.
Yeah, and usually whenever they're trying to say it's a smaller file, they would use convention is using .min. And in order to use our Bootstrap, we have to specify the actual CSS file, where it is from in the styles.
Is this the permanent link for everything? I mean, for in that styles container, is that node modules / bootstrap? Is that the link given for everything?
Yep.
For every
in our
component.
Yep. In our case, it's in the node modules folder, right? That is why we're specifying it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And it can vary from okay, you have so there are two ways again. You can either install, I mean, two ways of doing it. One is installing the Bootstrap, right? We have done npm I and Bootstrap, and we specified the version, and it would add to our package.json and package.log.json, right? And once we do that, we would try to find the folder, do all of that. That is one way of doing it. Another way, I wouldn't say simpler, but another way of doing it is, let me show you, include Bootstrap and HTML. So you have to copy these 3 lines of code. This is another way of including, Bootstrap in your project. And I would just include that in our, index.html. So there are two ways of doing this. And this one, when I use this particular way of doing it, it is actually trying to get the Bootstrap min file again from this particular location. It's an online location. If I do it in this way, as I mentioned, including it in our angular.json, is actually loading from our particular project. So there are two different ways of doing it. I can use either one. In cases it's not working down here for whatever reason, I can simply specify it there. So yeah, any questions about any of these? And since the angular.json is here and it's in the same level as node modules, I can simply specify node modules Bootstrap. And for some reason this isn't loading and can't reach. Let us stop that.
One question here, Anvish.
Yep.
Oh, I did not get it. Why we have to use here Bootstrap here? Can't we go by using completely Angular?
Yeah, we are using Angular. Bootstrap is an external style sheet. Let me
Styling.
first open this one. So this Angular is like a web page, right? Or not a web page. Angular is similar to JavaScript.
Yes.
Okay. That is different than Bootstrap is just a style sheet. It's a CSS document. And it has already inbuilt styling for everything, like button or text box or even navigation. Yeah, even navigation here. It has a style defined. So that is why we're using Bootstrap. Bootstrap is used in addition to Angular. Angular doesn't have any default styles. And that is why we are using Bootstrap.
That will take all from Bootstrap only now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we are using Bootstrap again. I'm teaching you Bootstrap again because it's one of the popular styling methods used. I've changed, I worked at different places, and all of those places use Bootstrap. And they have, as I mentioned, they have a grid system, and this is one of the most popular grid systems. Everything is divided into 12 components or 12 columns. Anyways, so Bootstrap is different than Angular. Angular is just similar to JavaScript. It's used for interaction, making your code more interactive, the website more interactive, while Bootstrap is just nothing but a styling document. Think of it as like in your case, whenever we want to add styles, you would add a CSS, right? Here I would go and I would, if I want to define a style, I would say simply red, and I would specify all of that. But Bootstrap is already, Bootstrap already has all of the classes we want to use. They have already did all the heavy work for us. Like they've created the classes and everything.
Created all the styles, classes, fonts in the Bootstrap.
Yep. And that way are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that clear, Shravanti? So it's nothing but a external CSS document we are trying to use in our project.
Okay.
Yeah, Angular is just JavaScript, sort of similar to that one. Anyways, if you see down here, again, another thing I mentioned, I particularly didn't style it in any way, right? I just simply specified. I've specified a few different classes here, and it automatically applied the styling here. It shows like a navigation item on the top, right? And that is what Bootstrap is used for. Okay. So coming back here, so we have main sort of a header, bakery items. Apart from that, I also want to have two different things. I also want to show something similar to, not this one. I also want to navigate to baking products and the recipe. So I also want to include those two things. So this is a navbar header, okay? And in order to define individual items, in this case, navbar header simply is similar to, if I can find this. You see the Microsoft, the icon, it looks a little bigger than rest of them, right? That is what the navbar header is. And whenever I say navbar brand, it particularly makes it bigger. That is what, again, header and a brand. When I use both of those together, it would show the icon size as bigger. that is all it is. Okay, anyways, we also need items, right? One is for baking, another one for recipes. So there is another class, and we're trying to design it similar to whenever you try to make it smaller, it tries to collapse, right? You see it's collapsed here. Whenever it's of a particular size, you can actually see all of those. And that is what we're trying to create another. We're using another class for that. Again, these are all default. By default, you have it in Bootstrap. We are just using those classes. Okay, anyways. So in order to show our items, we have to create a list, an ordered list. And these are the navigation items within that. So I can create, I just want to show two things, right? Again, these are nothing but links, right? Whenever I click this one, whenever I click that, it takes me to a different web page. Whenever I click that, it takes me to a different web page. So on the top of navbar items, all of these are nothing but links, right? So that is what we are trying to create here as well. So I'm creating another link. Again, here, right now, I would just have it refer to the same page. Once I create the components page, we would actually change this. But for now, I simply say bakery items. Okay, another one is bakery recipes.
I think it is bakery products.
Okay, bakery products and bakery recipes. So once I do that, okay, it doesn't show.
The bakery items gone to left side corner, right side corner.
Yep. I'm trying to see what. Let me
I think we have to
also create another one.
class.
Navigation. I also want to create something when it collapses. So let me also create that, and let's see. It shouldn't have done that. And this I want to define on the right side. Okay, I don't know why this is happening. Bakery items.
Container fluid tag we have, right?
I think that navigation navbar right will come after the navbar header. I guess so.
No, but shouldn't have done that, but let me see. Yeah, I'll get back to you on why this isn't. Our header should just show it on the right left side on the maybe having some issues with that.
Here left now, we need that one left side of the web page now. So it could be a neighbor left. Here.
Bar left. I tried that, but it doesn't show up in that way. I'll get back to you guys on why that isn't. I'll correct that and. But anyways, the thing I want to show you guys is this one. This one, it collapses whenever it reaches a particular size. So Usually, whenever you look at your phones, you would see on the right side, you would be seeing like a hamburger icon, right? Hamburger menu, you would have that. Once I click on that, it would show me a few more items. Anyways, that is what we're trying to do down here again. Again, this is basic. Once we start creating more components for each one of those, I'll show you how to navigate to those particular items. Anyway, since I want to create it as a drop down, I would say drop down, and let me create another link. Once you create the components, I would assign that to here. And we have another class. Want to define that to be like a button. Okay. So these things would make more sense once we start creating the components. Right now, just defining it. I want it to be like a drop down. And anyway, in the drop down menu, I want two things, right? I want to, again, in the list item, I want to show two different things. Again, the same thing. So I can just copy this one. Anyways, not sure why this thing isn't working, but I'll get back to you. I have that. Right now it doesn't work because I haven't added any other code necessary, but once I do that, you should be able to see that. And I will also check why this shouldn't be in this way. Okay, let me ask you one simple question, another one. So if I want to create different components for baking products list, and making products edit list, how would you create, or what components would you actually create for those?
We can
using navbar.
No, not navbar. I'm just asking what components would you create, or how would you actually create these components for baking products?
In command prompt, we have to use the command ng space generate the component space head, those component names.
Yep. But how would you organize it? My question is, like, if you're
like in a table wise,
given a chance. Okay. I mean, these are created in this way, but okay. Did you say table wise?
Yeah, either table wise or grids. We can use grids.
Okay. I mean, this is how I would do though. Like if I'm creating a particular section, like these are all together, right? Like all of the baking products, and I just want to create them in a separate section, right? If I want to do that, first thing I would do is create a separate folder for that. And it's easier to put them together if I do that. Okay, so I would simply say bakery products. Okay, within the bakery products, I would have the rest of these. So anyways, let me first create the bakery products component. So NGGT, as you mentioned, and I want to create bakery products. And this is a naming convention. We are using camel case, where the first letter or the first word would be lowercase, and rest of them would be uppercases whenever I write another word. And this is like a standard format we follow in web development. So, okay, anyways. So once I do that, okay, it created all the components necessary for my bakery products. So, and within this folder, I want to create the rest of the components. So I would simply go to that bakery products folder. And here I want to create the list and also the edit. Right now I just adding those, creating those components. And you see. So this is like a standard practice, or it's a good practice to do for you guys as well. Like whenever you want to create components, or whenever you have, sorry, go ahead.
Like subcomponents, we are creating baking products list and baking product edit list. Are they subcomponents for baking products?
Yep. Right now, once I click particular baking product, I just want to see something within that. Yep. So I just want to have a top one, and within that I would have the list or ability to edit those. So that is why I'm trying to create those within that. Anyways. Or I can create a main folder called bakery products, or baking, something like that. And I can create all of the rest of those components again. It's important to get a particular, what you call, folder structure. NGGC, and I created that. And also within the same thing, I want to create a bakery edit, right? Again, we are trying to create two different components for bakery list and also bakery edit, but right now, to keep things simpler, I'm trying to create two different components. But later on, you can see I can just use one component to show the data and also to edit. But anyways, okay. So I'll ask you guys again. So for bakery products, I created another folder. How would I create components for these ones, for the baking recipe? Anyone?
Baking recipe book would be the main component.
Yep, I would just create another folder again, and within that I would create those individual ones. So yep. So anyone wants to take control and show me how it's done? Any takers?
What Anish? Didn't get you.
I'm sorry. Yep. My question is, does anyone want to take control and show me how these things are created?
I'll try to do Anish.
Okay. I've given you control, so you should be able to, go to the command prompt. Yeah. Are you not able to click anything? Okay, try now. So Lakshmi, are you able to type anything? I don't hear you either. Hello.
I'm not getting any control, Anvish.
Yep. I just shared with Lakshmi right now. Do you want to see if you want? Lakshmi, are you able to hear me? Or are you talking on mute? Okay. Let me give control to Shravanti. Let me open this. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't see the unmute option. Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
I
Sorry.
was unable to actually type.
Okay, I think I know why it could be. So it's probably because it's in admin mode. So let's see the app. Okay. Let me give you the control again. Yeah, can you see if you can type anything right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to create a bakery recipe. So
Sorry.
okay. So within that, I want to also create
What are the other things, Anvish?
Yep. Let us open this one here. So
Bakery.
list and also edit, I guess. Yeah, but since I want to specify it particularly, I would use the name as well, like bakery list or bakery recipe list, something like that.
Bakery recipe.
Let's say edit now. We want to create another one. Okay, cool.
Thank
Yep. Yeah, cool. Thanks. So this is how you would create the components or so let me stop. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's say I want to, this is how I want to see, right? So in here, I have bakery products on the left and recipes on the right. So anybody want to do that part? Like adding, bakery recipe and bakery products down to the HTML page into our app component HTML. Anyone?
Can you repeat?
Yep.
Can you repeat the question?
Yep. My question is down here. We've created all the individual components, right? Bakery products, list, edit, and recipe. The same thing for that. And in here, you can see the bakery products are on the left, right? And or just say, I just want to include these two components, the main components, baking product and baking recipe, into my app component.html page. Okay. Anyone want to do that?
Let me try.
Okay. Let me give you the control again. Okay. Just want the main components in here.
Mm. Oh. So we have to add the tags in
Yep. Mm-hmm.
app component.html, right?
Yep, that's right. And where can you find the tags for the bakery products and bakery recipe?
I think we have to select in CSS. Is it?
It's like styling area.
It's in.
You have to
It's,
find the manual.
can I? Shravanti, you're saying something?
Can we do it in app.css, app component.css?
No, I just want to include those components, right? Lakshmi, can I take control once?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just created all of these components, right? You can see I've created, let me close this one. Okay, I've created bakery recipe and bakery products, right? I just want to include those components in my HTML page. So that is the question. Is that clear, Shravanti?
No.
Okay, so I've created these components, right? Why did I create the components? I want to include them in my main page, right? HTML page.
Mm-hmm.
That is so far clear, right? So I'm just asking, how can I include that in my main component HTML page?
Actually, we have. I think we have to go to either app component.ts or a bakery recipe component.ts. In that we can, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
That,
so
tag.
yeah, you have the control. Lakshmi.
Okay.
So you can see here, Shravanti. So if I want to
you can
add an,
you can
sorry?
take control, Shravanti, if you want.
Let me give her.
Or shall I continue?
Or yeah, you show her one example and she would do the second one. Why did this happen? Okay. Okay, you see that, Shravanti? So she just included that selector, whatever we have in bakery component, main component. She included that in our component.html as a tag. That is all she had to do. For the recipe, okay. Do you want to add the bakery product component?
Shravanti, you want to try?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I've given you control.
So from here,
are you?
Yeah, just one second. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
From here onwards, I have to continue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to add here lists.
No, right now just add the component. We can style it later. I don't want to add the list. Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to add the main ones. In here, she already added, Lakshmi already added recipe, right? I want you to add the products. So how would I add the product? I have the bakery products here, right? And I also have the component here, and this is a selector. So as she has done, so I just have to select that. Since this is a tag I want to use, so simply do the same thing as she did for the other one. So once I do that, I've added both the recipe and also products to the main HTML page. And if you want to see how it looks, this is how it looks. Right now, we don't have anything except, the basic, whatever it created here in the HTML page. So bakery product works. So I have that, and also bakery recipe works. It is from this HTML page. So that is as simple as it is. So if you want to add any component to our HTML page, just remember, go to the main TypeScript page, pick the selector, and include that. Just 3 steps. And that is how you would add. Anyways, is that clear, or do you have any questions regarding that?
It's good, Anvesh. No questions.
Okay, cool. Shravanti, do you have any questions, or Shravan?
No.
Okay, cool. So let me take control back. Okay. So we haven't done much apart from creating the components. I will fix this. I don't know why it's showing on the right. It should be showing down here and with the list items. Anyways, I fix this and share you guys it on GitHub. And okay, so this is how far we got. We just created the components, right? And we also created the header. Right now, in the next coming classes, we would be actually writing some HTML code within that component, within each one of these. And you can actually see how it looks once we do that. What else do I have? Yep. So any questions about what Bootstrap is, or what components are or how to add anything to our HTML page. Okay, cool. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll just continue with our web page. And yeah, thanks guys. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.